You don't want to start 2026 like this. I'm starting a new pilot program called 2026 Pre-Season Training. It's for leaders who want to get their team match fit before the whistle blows and the 2026 season kicks off. So if you're running a good company or a team and you want to hit 2026 in a sprint, this is your window right now to set it up. We'll custom build your 12-month plan and drop it into a Trello board so that you actually track it and use it. We'll resource it properly so the work actually gets done and set you up a school community so that you're ready to get rhythm from day one. We'll be setting it all up using Goldratt's project rules of flow to mitigate the 12 causes of project failure, because that's exactly what this is and how you need to treat it as a project. And you'll also be learning to leverage AI where it counts to get the most impact. This isn't some paint by numbers cookie cutter course. It's pre-season training custom built for your business. There's only 10 spots and we'll have it wrapped up so that you're ready to run before we hit Christmas. DM me the words 2026 pre-season training and I'll send you all the details, because you really don't want to start 2026 like this. Obviously, I did that video just before Christmas and I made a bit of a blur. I should have made it a little bit more generic. Oh, Q2 2026, 25 days away. Didn't we just have Christmas dinner just the other day? That's how quick this year's getting away. Now, obviously, you've been following along this week. We've been speaking to the physics, the impact that physics has on a project. And you might be thinking, if you haven't seen all the videos, what is this all about? You know, you might be thinking, not another LinkedIn legend telling us how to run our projects. If he's so good at projects, why is he on LinkedIn telling us about it? And why isn't he off running his own project? Not another consultant with another magical framework, another magical hack. That's a fair question. What I do, or what I'm speaking to in this series, isn't a magical hack. It's not a simple process, or it is a very simple process, but it isn't easy to do. And it's not something your team's going to pick up and run with by themselves. There's how you can actually do this, which sits you in this bottom corner here, which is the slowest and lowest probability of it actually working if you focus on the how. I've showed you everything that you need to know how to do it. Up in the top right hand corner, you get the highest probability and the quickest way of doing this, which is executing flawlessly, what the RAAF call flawless execution. You need a who, someone who has been there and done it all before. As that comment says down the bottom right, you've got 25 days until Q2 starts of 2026. Your project needs stabilising. I can do this with a couple of projects. Not many, obviously, because it's very intensive for me. I am the who that makes this how happen. Comment reset. This is not me being a consultant or preaching to everyone or all the rest of it. I actually embed inside your team for this program between the client and the contractor. We spend 90 days where we create a small stealth team, reset your project or a certain area of it, get it running right, and then we'll look at what's next. But there's some things that you have to get around to make this happen. First thing we've got to do is we need to, in our who section just up here, get my pen out, we're going to get rid of all of the opinions. Opinions are noise. What we need is signals, data and physics. How does this actually work? We looked at this all week and why we need to increase the value added activity and decrease the non-value added activity. This week, while I was running through this process, very fortunately, Dr. Alan Bernard came out with a white paper that he's actually written on this, and why a critical chain, although it works so much better than critical path method has never really been adopted. He had a major frustration with the way that it was taken up. And he knows from physics, this is why I was talking to physics all week, physics play a major impact on us delivering projects like. He found that there's 4 levels of resistance to getting something like this, to implementing it on your project, okay? So the first layer is that the solution is counterintuitive. When I speak to this, you don't need to add any more resources to your project to get double the earned value out of it, to make double the amount of projects. What we need to do is reduce the busy work, the noise, reduce that. Lean tells us 90% of everything that we do every single day is waste. Non-value added activity, we need to reduce that and increase that. If we increase that value added activity, the work that's actually progressing us, moving us towards the targets, the milestones on the project, we increase that 10%, we double our throughput. Very simple. That's counterintuitive, but what we've been taught to believe is get everyone busy. See those guys standing around over there, get them some stuff and get them moving. It's not how what gets us to the over the finish line the quickest. We learned that speed, this is counterintuitive. Speed is governed by a constraint. Fast drives chaos. We want to get everyone busy and the project moving and get everything happening. Come on, it's an urgency. That's fast. There's a difference between fast and speed. Speed equals flow. Again, go back to Monday's video. If you're not sure which number it was, just drop a comment in the comments below. So send the fast versus speed video, Benny. That's counterintuitive. Focus on speed, not fast. We looked at Christian Burkosis's video on that, on how the fighter pilots look at creating flow and they don't focus on fast. Fast can get them killed. They need what they call corner speed, which is optimal speed to be moving at. That's the first hurdle we've got to get past. This is counterintuitive. All right? Even this bit, theory of constraint in itself, identifying the constraint, exploiting it, focusing, getting people to actually focus on the one thing that's slowing the whole project down. That's counterintuitive. Subordinating everything else on the project, making it go at the same speed as our constraint. Counterintuitive. That's not how you do it. We smashed it. We got our area done quick. What sort of drama, chaos did you create in the process that's impacting the rest of the project? Then we elevate it and we make sure inertia, doing nothing, doesn't become our next constraint. We can do this. That is the outcome you can have if you decide that you want it. Doubling throughput and value, whatever you want to call it, by reducing your waste with the resources that you've actually currently got. Other than one caveat is you need a who that's done this before to make this move the quickest. It conflicts with the current measurements. Everything that we measure in construction at the moment is about keeping people busy. Productivity factor. We've spoken to this before. R.M. Meisel's little framework. Productive means you do more. Efficient means you do more with less. You can be very productive and very efficient at creating non-value added activity. What we don't measure is the effectiveness, the value added activity. We don't want productive and efficient, we want effective. We want to do more of what works. We don't measure that. We measure busy work. How many emails did you send? Look at that bloke. He's got so much going on. 18 radios, 4 phones. You'd have 69 meetings before 10 o'clock in the morning. Constantly on his email. Doesn't stop. He's sending emails at midnight. Busy. Non-value added activity. It removes our best excuses. I'm going to read you from the white paper. This is the third layer of complexity. Third layer is that the solution strips us of our best excuse. And we go, if we can remove 90% of this non-value agent. We can actually do less and move faster. It strips us of the excuse of we're all busting our ass already. We're going as hard as we can. That excuse is gone. Under traditional explanation, projects are late because we underestimate variability, uncertainty and complexity and did have enough buffer to compensate. They're the excuses that we use. Wouldn't believe what happened. The weather, logistics, COVID. This is an honourable failure. Nobody gets blamed for an unpredictable world. Critical chain says that something far more uncomfortable. Projects are late because we ignored resources, constraints, misallocated resources, and wasted the buffers that we had. Float. Float's just a mechanism that you give to people. Literally giving them people permission to procrastinate when you got float. That is not an act of nature. That is a consequence of our own rules and decisions. Let me read that sentence again. But critical change said something far more uncomfortable. Projects are late because we ignored resources, we ignored resource constraints, misallocated our resources, and wasted the buffers we had. That is not an act of nature. Can't believe what happened. It was so cold, it rained so much, it was so hot. That's a consequence of our own rules and decisions. We become accountable. 5 dysfunctions of a team. Avoidance of accountability. Now, I'm not saying people are doing this because they're bad. People are doing this because we measure the wrong things. We celebrate busyness. I don't believe most people are evil or they're lazy or anything else. They're trying to do the best they can with what they got with the system that we provide them. We don't provide them with what we got here. A feedback loop that helps them improve every single day, where we create awareness. That awareness, then they get an understanding what we're making them aware of. They start to create a belief. This stuff actually works. Then they take action. We keep spinning that up, that flywheel. You've got to have the right who to make sure that happens every single day. It's no fluke that I'm on day 103 of ORCA. I am relentless with this process. This is not something I do when I go on site and I think it might work or it might be a good idea to do one day. It's not a workshop. It's not something we do on Tuesdays. It's not something we don't worry about on the weekends because some people aren't here. It's not something that stops when someone goes out on R&R. Every single day, that needs to happen. So it removes our best excuse. The last one is fear of blame. I'm going to tell you a story. I'll just read you this out of this paper first. The fourth layer is a fear of blame. We know that most organisational change fails. 70% of it fails, and the 30% that does actually stick tends to fail to a certain degree anyway. It doesn't last. It's anti-fragile. It breaks at some point. To adopt a new approach is to take a personal risk, to take this approach, to do this, to focus on getting rid of waste. To focus on theory of constraint is a risk. If it does not work, you will be blamed. If it does work, the credit will be shared. The rational calculation for most individuals is to wait enough. Others have to adopt it, that the risk of adopting it becomes greater than the risk of adopting it. All right. So when I went on to the project where we really turned this around with We didn't even get this in place. We didn't even do this well. We did part of this. We certainly weren't doing ORCA. I didn't even know about ORCA back then. I was doing a bit of this. I'll show you how my office was set up. So you can see exactly how I create a learning environment. That was the office that I did it from, okay? So as you can see, there was posters on the wall everywhere. I used to have a schedule or a Trello board or something running. I wasn't even using a tack plan on this one, up on a big screen. There were quotes, sayings, all embedding this, doing this here. Learn to see, waste and flow. Create a learning environment. When I went on, and I got given I went on there as a forward planning and integration manager. Get everyone heading in the same direction and start planning out in front. I inherited the schedule by default as well. They were in a world of pain. We needed to do something to turn it around. I started throwing all the stuff that I knew at it to turn it around. No one would stop me because even though the solution was counterintuitive, I started measuring the things that we needed to measure to drive the right results. And everyone was getting flogged that hard that they weren't even worried about this one and was free. But what they were, and here in particular, was fear of blame. So they started very quickly to say it's been his schedule. Contractor distanced himself from it very, very well. I was the primary contractor side. There was a client, primary contractor, and a general contractor who were, for all intents and purposes, just there as labour hire. They did a very good job of distancing themselves by saying it's been his schedule, been his schedule, been his schedule. Every meeting, every chance that they got, been his schedule. I didn't care. I wasn't worried about fear of blame. I knew if I did this and we executed it well, it will work. Because I've done it before. It wasn't a guess. It wasn't, oh, maybe it'll work. It was just how well it would work and how quickly it would work. That was the only two variables that there were. The operations manager even went to the point of calling it out in a meeting. The contractor used to sit behind it and report to, or they used to speak to the executive general manager for the client. I used to tell them all the time, yeah, we can meet the schedule, we can meet the schedule. Well, when I looked at the schedule to start with, we don't have a hope in hell of meeting the schedule. Then I'd publish it, what reality was, and they'd throw their arms up, oh, it's Beanie's schedule, Beanie's published it. We didn't say that we couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. They never hope a hell of making what they're saying they were going to make. But they set it up. If someone was going to get the blame for the schedule, it was going to be me. I let them set up because what they did was give me control. It's the same here. This who has to be ready to take that blame. Very simple. He has to remove that best excuses that everyone's got. That's why he finds a stealth team to do it. Takes them away from the mothership. He has to measure. Or she has to measure. Not busy work. We need to measure is what creates flow. Oh, I haven't got it there. I didn't actually pull it up. There's 4 key metrics that I measure. If you want them, one's the constraints. One is verify full kit. Make sure you got everything before you start. Handoffs. Are we starting? Are we finishing? Where we say we're going to start and finish. And the last one's engagement. How engaged are the people at the front line in this culture stabilisation process? Get those 4 right. Believe it or not, mitigates the 12 causes of project failure and it drives the 9 rules of flow. Can't try and get a different result when your measurements conflict with your counterintuitive solution. Anyway, I think I've given that a red hot rattle. There's 25 days until Q2. If your project needs stabilising, I've got a couple of spots. Comment, or damn me, reset. And I'll send you the 90-day project reset document, the details of how it all works. Okay. ORCA. ORCA is the driver of all of this. This is the most important part of the whole process. It's a reason why I'm now on day 103 of the ORCA process live. Because people say to me, how would you do, what do you do, how would you turn a project around? Being able to go back and watch from day one to day 90. That's what the reset looks like. You're not going to nail it to start with. Some of it will be comfortable. You'll think this isn't working. There's just no flow to start with. It's a struggle. That's why you need the person, the who, that's been with it before. That'll stick with it and do it, even when you want to give up. Righto. So, yesterday we made a couple of improvements to our wingman. This should be, we'll copy and paste this new prompt across, which is this one right here. Hopefully that's a new prompt. Right. And go back and see if this works. If I've got the right prompt here. Doesn't look like it. Let me just go back and double check that. Okay. I'm not 100% convinced it's the right prompt, but we're going to give it a go. Why is it just done that? Didn't think that was right. Add process wingman. So yesterday we updated the wingman. You updated the prompt. Definition of done and the way that it interpreted the day number. The prompt that you've got there doesn't seem to be the full prompt. Have you rewritten the whole prompt so that it's got everything that we've spoken about above correctly? That looks more like it. Tell me you did, but you didn't. There's no way that that's the same prompt. So what's he said? Mark's handoff brief. Just double check, mate. So this is the prompt. I'll just copy paste this into the wingman. Is that what you're telling me? Exactly what you do. All right. Let's give it the business. ORCA phase 2, ORCA debrief. Couple little tweaks that this should have fixed. We'll see how it goes. Run ORCA debrief, ORCA. Run ORCA debrief, ORCA. I'm just going to copy paste. I'm going to change this because it's just not transcribing very well. and put that as an improvement. We'll look at that when we go to the board in a minute. 103. So this was one improvement because it was getting pedantic about how I put the number in there. So I asked it just to, so it did. It's picked up. I can just say 103 now and it picks it up. I don't have to give it the exact numbers. The date is Friday the 6th of March 2026. It is 10:12 a.m. and we are in Beanie's office. Yes, action 1 is complete. What we're doing here is just checking for stabilisation to see, make sure we're improving the process of running the ORCA. That's getting better and better. Each time that there's an issue with it, we rewrite the prompt to make the prompt a bit tighter. Action 2 is yes. "25 days until Q2. Your project needs stabilising." There's a couple of spots. One I can work with in that fractional FIFO offer or embed into your team. And then there's another program below that. That's the package I'm looking for at the moment, the WHO fractional offer. That was the one that's based on that unicorn roster. I got 8 days on, 13 days off. Action 3 is yes. Interesting to see what he does with the definition of done. What I've asked it to do is when we put our actions up on the board, who does what, when, what time, ask it to tighten up how it does the definition of done. No open actions. What is the objective of this mission? Today's objective is to make the offer for the WHO, the fractional FIFO offer, on the live. The objective of this mission is to make the fractional FIFO WHO offer during the live session. Is that correct? Yes. See, it doesn't say, what's your top 10 priorities? What 18 things have you got on your to-do list today? What is the objective of the mission? The offer has been made. The live is in progress. Take out, no, that's not correct. The transcription put something about a lawyer in there. That's just nonsense. The offer's been made. The live is in progress. Now, where the hell I got lawyer from? This would have worked better normally, but I've got my Bluetooth hooked back to my laptop. This would transcribe better than this if I had it hooked live to my phone. Yes. For purposes of this is good enough. Wingman we used to make sure we got the offer right. I spent some extra time yesterday with the BangerBot doing some strategy around how we create and deliver the offers. It's all been pre-planned out this week. We knew what we're doing, when. We knew who was doing what, when, and what time they were going to execute it. We have a very good process and very good structure. Additional preparation time was spent with the BangerBot on delivery strategy. The week was pre-planned with clear sequencing. Roles, responsibility, and execution timing were defined in advance. A structured process. Yes. Write the actions on your whiteboard, including who does what when, when you're blocking time in your calendar to work on it. Upload a photo once complete. Just go to the board, see if that follows me. All right, so we'll just use the same tasks today. Not going to reinvent the wheel. So we've got Beanie's got to run a live, which he's currently doing. Walker Wingman's got to do his handover notes. He'll do that as soon as the session's done. And Beanie needs to do the banger post recap. Take a photo of that. I want to see how well it now does the definition of done. That was the new improvement that we made to it. So we made 2 improvements to it yesterday, which was the day, how it interpreted the day number, which worked. And now we've got the definition of done, because I don't write a very good definition of done on the whiteboard. We're getting it to do that as well. Well, let's see what he says. Here we go. Cool. Beanie, run the live. What is the definition of done for action F1? The definition of done is that the live is run and published on LinkedIn and YouTube. So it's just tightening up to see whether I've done what I've done. Live sessions completed and published on LinkedIn and YouTube. Handover notes. What is the definition of done for this action? There must be a clean handover produced by the ORCA wingman that I can copy paste and give to to Mox so that he can write the post recap. If you have trouble getting people to do what they say they're going to do, definition of done will fix a lot of it. A clean ORCA handover is produced by the ORCA wingman and can be copy pasted and given to the banger box to write the post recap. Yes, it's done. No, it's not. No ambiguity. Beanie banger post recap 6. What is the definition of done? Well, the recap post is posted onto LinkedIn. So he's done it. So what he's now done is captured all those actions. We can put that into our messenger group, wherever it is, so that anyone can come and see. If I was doing this on a live site, I would run this process in probably Microsoft Teams. There's some really powerful stuff that Microsoft Teams and Copilot can do. I would create a prompt, exactly the same way that I do here. I would give it to Copilot. Copilot would run us through the ORCA process. So someone would have all the meetings scheduled, the daily ORCA debrief would be scheduled. Someone clicks a button and starts it at the start of the session. It does a transcription. We speak to the different steps. It creates this summary as we go. And at the end of it, we'd say to it, post it. I would post it there. Anyone that wants to go back and see exactly what the actions were, who's doing what by when, or when they're going to work on it, can go back and see exactly that. And we speak to it the next day to make sure that the actions from the day before got closed out, or if not, what's holding them out. Where is the constraint that's stopping us completing what was said we're going to complete? And we're going to start automating this more with Claude. All right, you got 25 days till Q2 starts, kicks off. Your project needs stabilising, reach out about that 90-day project stabilisation reset. Just comment reset or send me the word reset if you don't want it out in public, which is fair enough, and I'll send you the details. Take it, use it, made a great week. Tomorrow, and do something a little bit different. I'm going to look at the most powerful tool there is for creating culture, getting everyone heading in the same direction. All the stuff that we're talking about in here, absolute must. This one here. Doing social video with extreme competence. I'm going to show you my structure, my strategy, how to write posts, everything. Show you completely behind the scenes what I do tomorrow. Take it, use it, make it a great week. And we'll speak very soon.
This is a big one, and I've asked a project executive that I respected a lot what the answer to this one is, but I'm going to ask you, when you think about the real objective of a project manager, going back to that loop, what is their actual mission, so that we can bring it home for the listeners?
Okay, so the actual mission is, I'd go back to the book by Patrick Lencioni, 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, and the quote in there that says, if you could get all of the people in an organisation rowing in the same direction, you could dominate any industry, any market, under any conditions, at any time. If you could get everyone, the PM's job is to get everyone headed in the same direction. If you could do that, you'll build any project under any circumstances, ever gets thrown at you at any time. That's my opinion. In my opinion, that is his #1 job.
I love that, and kudos to you for pronouncing his name right. I always get that wrong.
That took a lot of practice to get that right, especially for an Aussie.
Yeah, because